To a new chapter in the debate over cell phones and your health. The industry, of course, is one of the fastest growing in history, and as more cells are activated, more cell phone towers go up, and that has some people worried about potential health risks. NewsHour's Carolyn McKenzie in studio with me now with more on the investigation. Good evening, Carolyn.
Good evening, Leslie. Despite the industry's fast pace, the technology itself is only about 20 years old. Many argue there is still much to learn, and until more studies are done, we will never know the true impact this technology has on our health.
Look up. They are virtually everywhere. In Toronto, there are more than 10,000 cell phone towers high above our heads. Their job? To connect us through the air. But some wonder about their effects on our health.
The problem is we're introducing a form of energy that people are not normally exposed to. This is totally unnatural.
That energy is electromagnetic radiation. It's emitted every time you make or receive a call on your cell. As soon as you push send, electromagnetic waves transmit from the phone to the cell phone tower. That tower then transmits those waves back to the receiver.
So you can see how it fluctuates, and this simply points to the source of where it's coming from.
Dr. Magda Havas is an environmental scientist. Using a device that measures electromagnetic radiation, she shows us what's really in the air.
These are pretty high readings for a Sunday afternoon.
Each time we point the device towards a cell phone tower, the meter spikes.
Okay, there's two up there, do you see? We just passed it. We're picking up some high ones again. Right there.
Here, we walk right into the middle of a cell phone transmission.
Get this reading as long as someone continues to use that cell phone, and then it'll go down.
Electromagnetic radiation is all around us. If we could see or hear it, experts say it would look and sound like this.
If we could see this form of energy, it would probably make us quite ill just from the visual cacophony of the energy.
Some say they are already ill.
If I'm in an environment where I'm within, say, 400 or 500 meters of a cell phone tower, I will have a difficulty breathing, a slight kind of pain in my chest, upper chest.
David Fancy says he is sensitive to electromagnetic radiation. To escape it, he has actually moved out of the city.
I found it impossible to find apartments that weren't within range of cell phone towers.
Cases like David's are becoming more common. Dr. Rena Bray says the number of patients walking in with similar symptoms is growing.
Something's not right. There are enough people now complaining about this problem. They're not making it up.
But Health Canada isn't so sure.
There has been little or no evidence that clearly links these types of symptoms to exposure to electromagnetic radiation from cell phones or broadcast towers or anything like this.
Health Canada also maintains our environment is safe. Not everyone is convinced.
Now, tomorrow in Part 2, we will compare Canada's standards to other countries when it comes to this type of radiation. As well, we will also hear from the cell phone industry and how it is responding to this criticism.
I have to ask you a couple questions here. First one, of course, is health issues. And number one, when it comes to health, Canada often follows the lead of other countries. Are there, in fact, other countries that have recognized this as a medical condition, Carolyn?
Yes, they have. Sweden, for example, has actually diagnosed about 3% of its population with electromagnetic hypersensitivity. It has also committed government dollars towards treating and rehabilitating these sufferers.
Well, we'll hear a lot more about this debate in Part 2 tomorrow as well. Thanks, Carolyn. Still to come on NewsHour tonight. And what governments are doing to keep us safe. Good evening, Carolyn.
Good evening, Leslie. Well, imagine your health being affected by something you can neither see nor hear. Well, some people say they are affected by radiation that surrounds us. And the question is, if it's harmful, just how harmful is it?
From his apartment window, David Fancy stares at what he calls the enemy.
Over the tree line, about 225 meters away, are some cell phone towers.
It's these towers, or more specifically, the radiation they emit, David says he reacts to, even from as far away as his apartment. He calls it electromagnetic hypersensitivity. The symptoms are headaches, chest pains, nausea, and difficulty breathing.
The key is to be able to get out of that environment as quickly as possible into another environment.
But as more cell towers go up, escaping them is getting harder to do.
Over the last few years, I've been seeing more and more patients coming in with the same symptoms, almost textbook-like.
Dr. Rena Bray is one of only a few physicians in Canada who actually treat people for electromagnetic hypersensitivity.
Something's not right. There are enough people now complaining about this problem. They're not making it up.
Now, Health Canada, like much of the world, isn't ready yet to say electromagnetic radiation causes these symptoms, simply because there haven't been enough scientific studies to prove it. However, Health Canada does have guidelines as to how much electromagnetic radiation we can be exposed to.
The recommended limit is the equivalent of standing right in the middle of more than 100,000 cell phone transmissions, all happening at the exact same time. It's a limit Health Canada says is safe. Then why are countries like Sweden considering a limit 1/10 of ours? And why are insurance companies excluding coverage for injuries related to electromagnetic radiation? Health Canada doesn't have those answers, but isn't ready to change its guidelines.
To do anything beyond this, where the science is so inconclusive, a tenuous link at best is not appropriate at this point.
As for the industry itself,
until we hear from Industry Canada or Health Canada that there's been a change, we're quite comfortable.
But those who say they are suffering from these products just want more research so they can be comfortable too.
Be upfront about it. Just be frank. Just be honest. There could be a risk. Let's investigate this further.
Now, one time, Toronto did consider adopting its own guidelines for radiation levels lower than what the federal government allows, but that proposal went nowhere.
So what's the bottom line here in terms of watching out for us, in terms of our health and the guidelines? Is there anyone policing this?
Yes. Industry Canada does have inspectors measuring the levels in the environment to ensure they are within the guidelines, and for the most part, they are. But the bigger question is, for many, are those guidelines too lenient?
As they say, the debate continues. All right, Carolyn McKenzie, thanks very much.